Good evening. We are live. That was from my buddy Glenn. We are live. We meaning me and all of you. So, hey, I've had some conversations over the last few days with folks that are dealing with challenges in their lives. And, and there's unfortunately, there are people in their lives that are somewhat toxic and causing problems for them. And I have been there. In fact, I've been the causer of those problems. What's up, Greg Webb? Good to see you, man. I've been the one causing the problems. I've been the toxic person. Oh my gosh, Glenn Morshower just went live also at the same exact time that I did. What the heck, Glenn? I've been waiting. He said earlier he was going to go live and he hasn't. Jason, I saw I have a text from you. I will check it out here in a little bit, brother. So how do you deal with toxic people? What's up, Weldon Whitehurst, Linda Ann Barber? How do you deal with people? Well, first, how do you get around the right people? Hey, Jesus, I am wonderful, man. How about yourself? How do you get around the right people? When you're going through life, like it's impossible. Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote in one of his books, he said, spirituality cannot exist in a vacuum. So and we are all, I think we can all agree that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Like if you're an atheist, you probably won't watch me for long. But I think that Linda just nailed it. That's it. So look, I've been the one being toxic. As many of you know, I have almost 18 years of sobriety and recovery. And for years prior to getting sober, I was the toxic one. I was the one causing problems. I was the one manipulating people. I was the one I was literally out of control. And I can tell you that it got so bad that finally everybody in my family and any friends I had, they wised up and they said, we're done with you. We're done. And, I went through the whole poor me and all of that. And look, I'm grateful that they did that now today. I'm grateful for that because it forced me into recovery. It forced me into looking at my own crap. It forced me to look in the mirror and figure out what was going on with me that caused me to drink the way that I did. Now, this can be on many different levels. It doesn't necessarily need to be drinking. It doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with sobriety in any way. Hey, Nikki, how you doing? Good to see you. And I think people can be toxic in different seasons. Exactly. I agree with that, Sandy. Sometimes because when there's a toxic person in your life, they're going to cause problems in your life. There's always, I had lots of enablers in my life. I always sought out relationships with women that would enable me, that would pay for my drinking, or they would, didn't care They were just happy to have me in their life. At least I thought so, right? But like, and they would enable my behavior until they didn't anymore. And then I would move on to another one and another relationship and another. And until finally I hit, I don't know about rock bottom, but I hit a hard bottom. And I was like, you know what? I've got to change. I've got to look at me. I've got to look at my behavior. And had any one person stuck around and continued to enable me, I wouldn't have 18 years of sobriety. In fact, I would probably be dead, because I was on my way to that for sure. So when you have toxic people around you, it's almost impossible to not be in their crap with them. It's almost impossible. So, you know, you've got to confront the people. You have to confront them. And you have to say, this is not acceptable. This is what I want out of my life. And this is what you're doing to cause harm to my life. And I don't like it. If you want to stay in my life, then this is the behavior that you need to change, or we don't have a deal anymore. Like that. It's that simple. We don't have a deal anymore. Sandy says, I was a great codependent enabler, but also the toxic person at a time. Right. And that's the thing. And I've been there too. I've been on both sides of the coin. I can remember I sponsored somebody in a 12-step program, and this dude would not he wouldn't stay sober. Like, I was like, dude, the most important part about staying sober is not drinking. And he was also into some drugs. I was like, the most important part is not using or drinking. That's the most important part. Like, you got to hang on no matter what. Go to a meeting, call people, but don't freaking use or drink. And what happened was I found myself eventually, and I didn't look at it like this. I kept looking at it like, there's got to be something else I can do to help this dude. Like, it's like God sent him into my life so I could help him get sober and change his life and blah, blah, blah. And the whole time he was manipulating me. And finally, my sponsor said to me, dude, I think you care more about his sobriety than he does. And you can't do that. You can't care about someone else's success more than they do. You can't care more about someone else's well-being more than they do. You've got to focus on you. And when you focus on you and you getting better, then via osmosis, the people around you, you're vibrating at a much higher level. The people around you start feeling that energy, and they either like it and they want it and they want to be in that, and they start seeking what you have, or it repels them and they go away. But what if I don't want them to go away? Then you need to work on you big time then. Because if you enjoy having a toxic person in your life, this is what somebody said to me. A very qualified therapist said this to me. Because I had many, many years where I didn't look for loving, caring relationships. It wasn't on purpose. It was an unconscious thing that I was doing. Many, many years that I was attracting relationships into my life with projects. It was a project I was looking for. Why? Well, if I'm working on somebody else's sobriety or whatever is going on in their life more than I'm working on me, I don't have to look at me then. I can look at them. They're the one that's all messed up and I'm here to fix it. Well, that's not the way that it works in a healthy manner in any relationship, right? So somebody said to me, by you staying in that relationship, that means that you are sicker than she is. I was like, how dare you talk to me like that? And I got all up on my high horse. And I was like, I can't believe you just said that to me. But look, when you're surrounded by people who are causing problems in your life, and it happens once, maybe even twice, okay, you want to help that person through. But there has to come a point, no matter what, no matter who it is, where you say, look, man, I care about your life more than you do. I care about your happiness more than you do. I care about your health more than you do. I care about your sobriety more than you do. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, there has to come a point where you go, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm not doing it. And you have to disconnect from it. Well, Ken, that's easier said than done. Yes, it is. I agree. You don't understand. We're tied together, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I get it. But this ain't no practice round, y'all. This is not a practice round. I said this last night. This is your life. This is your life. And those people that you surround yourself with that are toxic, the ones that you know, they're really good at manipulating you into believing that they love you, that they care about you, that all of these things, but they're really toxic and they cause problems in your life. Man, you gotta go, wait a minute. You got to step back and look at you. Because if you, Sarah Ann, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I've just had a lot of conversations over the last few days with people who are having problems with other people that have been going on for a long time in some cases. And it's like, look, there has to come a point where even Jesus said, I'm not busting all religious on anybody, but Jesus said in the Bible, like he told the disciples to go out and spread the word to these little villages, and some of them would listen, some of them won't. And he said, look, there comes a point where when you're leaving their village, you have to shake the dust from your feet, meaning, see ya, good luck, hope it all works out for you. I brought you the message. I planted the seeds. You can take them and run with them. You can keep doing what you're doing, but I'm shaking the dust from my feet and I'm out. I'm out. And when you have toxic people in your life, look around in your life. Look around in your life and say, okay, this was caused because of this relationship. This happened and this happened and this happened and this happened, right? And these bad things, these 5 things, these 5, 2, 3 things, whatever it is, right? Look around and get honest with yourself. Codependency, it's a real thing. And codependency, and I've been incredibly codependent in my life. Codependency is probably more deadly than addiction is, because the codependent person never feels worthy enough, and so they're constantly trying to prove to the sick one, the one that's causing the pain, they're constantly trying to prove that I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough. And the sick one is always like very manipulative. And I'm saying it from experience, personal experience, where I've been the manipulator. I've been that sick alcoholic, addict, whatever it is, right? I've been there. And it's very, very, very difficult. My mother, my father, my older sister took me to go talk to my sister's nurse friend. And I love them for this today, by the way. My mother had co-signed on a car for me. This was years ago. They took me to go talk to this counselor, and I go talk to this counselor, and they're all waiting in the waiting area. And the counselor starts in with his crap. And I was like, dude, and he's like, you're an alcoholic. Why don't you admit it? And I'm like, maybe you're an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic. Don't call me an alcoholic. I just have a thinking problem. Don't call me that. And he said, well, I think you need to stay here, check in, 28-day treatment. I said, monkeys will fly out of your rear end before I check into this hospital, this treatment facility. And he said, you really, no, seriously, you need to. And your family's done with you. I'm like, no, they're not. They're out in the waiting area. They're not done with me, you smart ass. And he's like, no, they are. This was all planned. And I'm like, what was planned? And I got up and walked out there, and they were all looking at me, and they were crying, and I was a jerk, and I was angry, and they said, if you don't check into this treatment, we're done. You're not getting the car because mom co-signed on it. You're not staying with any of us. You're right now, you're 50 miles from our houses. You're not getting a ride back to our house. You're not getting anywhere with us. You either check in here and you get help right now, or we're done. We're done. And what was I going to do? Walk to wherever? I didn't have anywhere to go. I had no choice. I had to check into this treatment facility. And it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Now, I stayed sober for 6 months. I relapsed, and I went back out for a year and a half and almost died. And then at 34 years old, almost 18 years ago, I got sober. And you know, I am, by the grace of God and a lot of hard work, I haven't had a drink or a drug in those 18 years. And it's freaking brutal, man. It's brutal I cannot imagine having to look at either one of my daughters and say, I'm done with you. I cannot even fathom that. I cannot fathom that. I cannot even, it doesn't register with me that I would have to tell my daughters, either one of them, that I can't deal with this anymore. I love you, but I'm loving you from a distance. Do not contact me anymore ever again. I cannot imagine that, but that's what my family did. And thank God that they did, because it planted the seeds that needed to be planted. For the first time in my life, I admitted that I was an alcoholic. And my life changed. And I mean, it got better. My worst day sober is 1,000 times better than my best day drunk. So, you know, if you have people around you that are toxic, and I've had to do the same exact thing in a relationship with somebody that wouldn't get help. I had to do the same exact thing, and it broke my heart. It killed me. It really broke my heart. But you have to get to a place where you draw the line and you say, no more, man. I can't live like this anymore. I can't live like this anymore. It's just like when it starts destroying your life. Like I was in a relationship one time where it was so difficult, so much chaos and turmoil all the time. I literally broke out in hives. And I've never broken out in hives. My nerves, I was such a nervous wreck that I broke out in hives all over my neck and the right side of my face. I've never had that happen before. You know, I would encourage anybody that's struggling with, you know, what other people are putting them through. Man, confront it, number one. If you haven't confronted the person, you need to confront the person. You need to establish your boundaries, set the boundaries. You need to establish those boundaries. And if they're crossed and they don't get it, then you need to shake the dust from your feet. You need to disconnect. If you've tried everything that you know, you've been to counseling, you've done everything that you know how to do, there has to come a point where you say enough is enough. And it's very difficult. Tony, how in the world are you doing, man? I didn't even see your comment. Have to know when to walk away for yourself, your self-care. Just walked through this with family. Dude, it's hard, man. It's very, very, very difficult. You know, I don't think I put all this in the book, Eric. I don't think so. You know what? I found out that I'm a loving, caring person. I definitely am not the same person I used to be. No way. Not even remotely close. Not even remotely close. Yeah, it was tough love. Scott, it was very tough love, but it's something that I absolutely had to have in my life. I needed that. And when we walk through life enabling other people's bad behavior, man, you're asking, as the old saying, I forget who used to say this, you're cruising for a bruising. Like you're asking for trouble. And it's hard. It's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. But I you know, this is your life. You weren't sent here to be somebody else's victim. You weren't sent here to be somebody else's doormat. You weren't sent here to be somebody else's fixer-upper. Like, you're not here to fix everybody. You can deliver a loving, caring message from afar, from a distance. You can block them from calling you or texting you. Most phones today have that capability. You don't have to tolerate the bullcrap. And I say that from a place of absolute love, by the way. I've been there. I've been there on both sides of the coin. Both sides. When you stop and you look in the mirror and you really dig deep, and you can say, you know what? I'm a good person, but this other situation is wreaking havoc in my life. Michelle, I love you too. Thank you. Joel, you're right, dude. People have to want it, man. People have to want to change. You're not going to convince, you know, the saying, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You're not going to get somebody to change their mind. That's why I just laugh when I see people arguing politics and religion. And I mean, it's like, dude, are you serious? You're not that naive, right? Like, you're not going to change somebody's opinion. They're not going to go, oh my gosh, I saw something on Facebook that Ken Walls posted, and I've decided that I'm going to switch parties. I'm going over there now. That's it. It was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. He actually argued with me a little bit on my post first. And so I just went over, I started checking out all of his posts, and I'm switching parties, man. Like, it just made too much sense, his argument. That's never, ever, ever going to happen. So stop. Stop. It's a waste of time. You're absolutely wasting your energy. Lisa Patrick, how are you? There's an Indian proverb, call on God, but row away from the rocks. Exactly. I love that, man. I love that. So, like, just stop. Stop trying to change everybody around you. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You will not be the reason that person changes. It's more than likely going to be their own pain. Their own pain is what will cause them to want to change. It's not going to be some magical thing you said, or, hey, here's an extra $100 to help you get by, or here's another $1,000 to help you get through that. Or that's not what's going to do it, man. It's not what's going to do it. I promise you. Hold on, Ken Walls. I was a deep blue Dem until I heard you. Good choice to switch over, Charles. But so, like, look, you're not going to get people to change. It's just not real, man. It's not real. It's like I saw my buddy Wes Wyatt today on a live stream, and he was talking about these network marketing events and how only a tiny percentage actually make money, and he's right. And but you know what? That's not the network marketing company's fault. They already knew that the day they opened the doors. They already knew that. I've had a bunch of people get my course, buy my course. They've paid good money to buy my course, and a ridiculous amount of them are barely even going through it. I can see who's going through what. Barely going through it. There is something called the 80-20 rule. I think that it's actually more than that. I think it's probably 95-5 rule is what it could be now. But a very small percentage of people on this planet will actually put in the work to do what it takes to do. Do you know what the recovery rate is in Alcoholics Anonymous, for Alcoholics Anonymous recovery rate? It's a small percentage. It's 5 or 10, it's maybe 5% or 3% or something crazy low will experience a lifetime of sobriety. That's why today I don't get cocky about it. I am so grateful that if I make it, and I always say, if I make it to August the 10th, I will have 18 years of sobriety. If I make it. But I don't ever get all cocky and go, oh, I'm going to make it and I'm blah, blah, blah. Nah, man, it's one day at a time for me. In fact, if you're sober and you've been sober for 5 years, if you got up earlier than I did today, you've got more time than I do sober, because it's literally one day at a time. And when you take everything one day at a time, like you wake up one day and you're like, holy crap, I've put together a lot of one days at a time. That's crazy. So, for me, it's this simple. It really is simple, but yet it's very difficult. For example, if my wife started drinking, which Jill drinks, like she'll order a glass of wine and leave like a little bit less. I mean, I've seen her leave half a glass of wine. And I'm like, you only drank half that glass of wine? She's like, yeah, I didn't want the rest. And I'm like, that's alcohol abuse. You can't just leave that. But if she got out of control and wouldn't get help and wouldn't stop, I'd be here to support her and help her get help. I would help her do whatever I needed to do to help her get the help that she needs. But if she refused it and just continued to manipulate and cause harm to me, my finances, my life, my whatever, guess what? Deuces, I'm out. Love you, mean it. Peace. Let me know if you get it together. As long as I haven't found somebody else by then, I'm kidding. Like there has to come a point where you go, enough's enough. Enough is enough. Wow, Doug bought the course. And yes, Doug, you are killing it. He's killing it. And I've already seen improvements in 4 days to his live streams. It's amazing. Congratulations, dude. So, you have to get to a point where you're like, enough's enough. I'm not dealing with this anymore. We can't deal with this anymore. Like, you either got to work on you and get help or get fixed or get whatever, whatever it's going to take for you, you need to do that. As long as you're doing that, I'm here for you. I love you. If you're not, I'm out. I'm out. Because you get one, this is it. Like I said earlier, this ain't no practice round. This isn't a practice round. This is it. And you got to take your life, like, Take it serious. My gosh. See, good for you. I will not take that chance, man. Because if I have a drink, I know what will happen. I know I'm done. Stick a fork in me. It's over. So if any of y'all ever see me out drinking, I'm kidding. I won't. I hope I don't. I take it one day at a time. But like, again, I think that we have to really stop and go, really take an inventory of the people around us. Hey, Larry, how in the world are you, man? Good to see you. Take an inventory of the people that are closest to you. Get around people that are healthy, people that want success, people that you worked in a distillery. Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, they'd be like, one weekend, they'd find me dead somewhere in the back with bottles everywhere. But like, get around people that want more out of life, of what you want. Maybe you want to be the best gardener in the world. Get around a group of positive gardeners. And if you get into a group of positive gardeners and you got one bad gardener in the group, stay away from them. Don't go. You're not going to change them. Stay away from them. There are people. I only hang out with good-looking people like me. I love it, dude. But there are people that literally will get into these groups just because they want to be poisonous. They want to be toxic. They want to spread their toxicity everywhere that they possibly can. They don't want to be. There's probably people watching right now on this stream or will watch the replay that are very negative. They hate this positive crap. Why is this guy coming on here doing all this positive? I'm going to unfriend him. And then they go to unfriend me and they're like, dang it, maybe I shouldn't unfriend him yet. He's on the chopping block, tired of his positivity. Like, there are people like that. There are people like that. You got to cut those people out. When I see people posting negative crap on Facebook, I block them or I unfriend them immediately. I do not like when you're attacking a group or you're attacking people publicly on Facebook and you're talking smack, you're being a victim, number one. And I don't hang out with victims. And number two, I don't need that in my life, man. I don't want to scroll through Facebook and experience your negativity and get your bad juju all over me. I don't want that. So guess what? Bye, Felicia. There are 7+ billion people on planet Earth. There's a good chance I'll find another friend that's not negative and full of all that toxic crap. So you've got to learn to set boundaries. You're not, this is it. I've said this 4 times already. This is it. This isn't a practice round. This is it. You have to make a decision that, you know what? I deserve better than to be around all this toxic behavior. Because this toxic behavior from this person or that group it's bringing me down. Every time I think about the situation, it brings me down. Every time my phone rings, I worry about, oh my God. You know what my sister used to say to me? Every time my phone rings, I'm afraid that it's the police calling to tell me that they found you dead or that you crashed your car and you're dead. That's no way to live. That's no way to live. And I get it, man. I've been there. I get it. It sucks. But my family doing an intervention on me all those years ago, although I did not stay sober, I stayed sober for 6 months and then I relapsed. Them doing that and cutting me off. I mean, cutting me off. It's the best thing that could have ever happened for me. And it sucked at the time. I thought they all hated me. I hated me. Life can be way, way, way better when you free yourself from all that toxic crap. So that's how you do it right there. Easy peasy. That's it. You just gotta, I'm done. Make a decision. Make a decision. Once you make the decision, take the action. Cut it off. Gotta cut it off. There's a saying from Al-Anon, I think. I don't know where I heard it, but it's hang on and be dragged or dragged. Hang on and be dragged, or let go and be free. You may even be programmed with somebody else's programming to, you may be programmed already to thinking that this is what you're supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be here to help this person. It's only been 20 years. It's only been 5 years that I've been trying to help this person. It's crazy. That's crazy. I give people a few shots, man, and that's it. Like, and I'm not saying they have to be perfect. I know people make mistakes, but I'm talking about, like, if somebody has a real problem that's causing pain and problems in my life, their behavior is, dude, you're not staying. You're out. I don't care who you are. Does not matter to me. Don't care. I will not tolerate it. Life is too short, and people need to be given the chance to own their own crap. And as long as I'm there picking their crap up for them, they don't have to own it. And if they don't have to own it, they're never going to change until it's too late. And I've been to those funerals too, and they suck. Those funerals really suck. Got to let go so you can be free. Hey, I appreciate all of you. Larry, I love that. Addicted to positive go-getters on a mission. Amen. I'll be 60 this year. I got to figure out how many more chances I got in this life. I can't take chances. And how simple it is to lose it all. Absolutely the truth. Get busy living your life, man. Take your life to a new level. Go. Stop messing around. You guys have a great night. Appreciate you jumping on here. Go jump on Glenn Moorshower's live stream. I saw him pop up a minute ago. He's live too. So I had no idea he was going live at the same exact time that I did. Oh, Sarah Ann, you are most welcome. Thank you for being on here. Larry, dude, I'll be 52 here in another, good Lord, 9 days from now. Holy crap. I'm going to be 52 in 9 days. Wow. Anyway, live your life. Stop letting other people destroy your life. Or continue. Let me know how that works for you. It's going to suck, man. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being on here. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.